What is up, guys? Hallie back here with What's in the Air. So, today we're going to discuss what the streets have been talking about. Everybody's been talking about is Jeannie Mai and rapper Jeezy's divorce. So, if you don't know who they are, Jeannie Mai is a daytime, talk show reality, or not reality, a daytime talk show personality, and she's on The Real. And Jeezy is a rapper who hails from Atlanta. Not really super poppin' rapper right now, but definitely has made his name in hip hop for sure. He's a very definitely recognizable name in hip hop. So they actually got married in March of 2021. And Jeezy actually filed, or it's the news of him filing was leaked on September 14th. But then when you actually look at the court document, which is I thought that he was filing September 14th, and that was kind of the news. But I think just the news of him filing broke because when you look at the court document, it was actually in June. So that was interesting. But yeah, that's part of the story, right? That's what's happening. They have a small child that they just had, so it's unfortunate. No one ever wants to hear about somebody, a family breaking up and whatnot. So it's definitely sad. But it is a story to cover. So let's get into it, and let's get into some of the reasons that maybe it's happening. So lately, because we know nothing ever dies on the internet, some old comments that she's made bubble to the surface, and they did not receive good feedback when she made those comments, and they certainly are not playing well now. They did not age well at all. So basically she says that she likes her dark meat, meaning dark men or dating dark men, on the side. White meat keeps her lean and mean, and she likes her dark meat on the side. Let's watch her try to explain that away too. I'll get into what I feel about it and what everybody else and the conversation has been about it afterwards. But for now, I will show you. You got to hear it from the horse's mouth, Joe.
Loves black guys. Yeah, yeah, I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. That's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
Because she lightweight offensive. I am
No, I'm not. I'm saying I really do think black men are attractive. I do. That's my.
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey. You know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
How did you say it?
I'm just saying, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
You like your main man to be white and your side
No, that is not what I mean.
Jeannie, explain what you mean.
Okay, what I meant is I used to date black men. Okay, and I think they're attractive. But what I decided to stick to because it just kept me happiest.
I love me some Tamar. Let's start there because the rest of the clip, y'all can go watch the rest of the clip if you want. She doesn't really explain it. There's no explaining that away. It's just a completely ignorant and stupid comment to make, and it's no, there's no explaining it because that's how you felt. Okay, now we see how you really think about black people. And it's I'm not saying every, person that's not black views black people that way, but a lot of non-black people, when they're dating you, that is what they think. I didn't say all. I said a lot. So be cognizant and be aware that that's what's happening. If that's what you want to go do, go ahead and do you, boo-boo. But don't get upset or be shocked when, things happen in the relationship. And then you're going to start to remember, oh, wait, well, she did say that. So let's get into Jeezy's response to this, because for a while, I don't think I ever even heard his response to it until now. So I will show you guys that.
Did you hear? I've always wanted to ask you this. So there was a comment that she said on The Real a while ago, and she basically said she likes her what was it, lean and white meat, but then she liked her dark meat on the side. Did y'all ever talk about those comments that she made back in the day?
I'm gonna tell you how real she is.
Because you the entree now, FYI.
It always an entree, but before we even started dating, we had that conversation. You know what I'm
Really?
saying? First thing when we really talked, she sat me down. She said, "Listen, it was something that I said, and it might have got taken out of context, and I want you to listen to it in its entirety." And I did. And I think you guys do journalism.
Mm-hmm.
You guys do it every day. People can take what they want. You know what I'm saying? And I know her people. I know her family. I ain't never felt no sense of racism. She comes from the Bay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She eats
That's
chitlins.
black culture. Right. And
Oh, yeah.
knows some real, like she knows E40 better than me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just think sometimes like people look for things in people, but at the same time, you got to know I'm a good judge of character, and I'm not gonna do nothing that's gonna jeopardize my integrity. But she's so solid. That's one of the first conversations we had.
That's
and I was
fire.
like, you different.
We are the morning hustle.
Okay. So that was his response, right? He said they talked about it before they got together, woody whoop whoop, and then like, you know, oh, it was taken out of context, which super quick sidebar. I'm really getting annoyed with people saying something ignorant or dumb that they get dragged for, and then they come back and say the things were taken out of context. It's like okay, you can't just say that when you're getting dragged for something. If the clip is played and we understand what you meant and what you said, but what you said, in the words of Candy, was some bullshit, then you're going to get dragged. You can't just say, oh, it's taken out of context. I don't even know how she was saying that clip was taken out of context. It's impossible for it to be taken out of context. We heard the whole thing of what she said. If you watched it afterwards, she doesn't clean it up. There's no making that better because it's a shit thing to say. And it's just clear. It's like you fetishize Black men. And I'm not saying she couldn't have grown from that point. Maybe she learned. Maybe she realized, you know, okay, that was fucked up and this is why. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying, you know, that people are perfect and you can't fuck up and you can't, you know, try to make it right. I'm just saying, the way that I think, I see how you think now. Period. I'll forgive you. I'm not going to like say, oh, you were a horrible person. You should be, you know, exiled from society or something. No, I'm just saying, I know and I see you. I see you. And that's okay. That's okay. Just know that you're seen. So that comment was made, whatever. People are bringing all that back up. Now, the other thing that I think is actually more probably a contribution or a contributor to possibly the divorce is the attitude problem that she said that she has. So she, just for a little background, she had a 10-year marriage before this to a white man that she basically disrespected him, like had an attitude with him, walked all over him. She didn't feel like he was her equal, you know, she didn't want to have a child with him. She didn't feel like he was worthy of that. That relationship ends. And now she's with Jeezy and she's realized that, oh my God, I have an attitude problem that I need to fix. Because like you can play those games with a white man. You can play those games and have that attitude and he'll let you do whatever you want. That's fine. You can get away with that. When you come over here, oh no, sweetheart, we don't play those games. He's gonna give you a smooth, who are you talking to? I know it's not me. And that should nip that right on up. That butt is nipped right on up. Okay. So that's what she kind of talked about with her friend. So I will play that clip just so you can kind of hear what I'm talking about.
Well, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself, you know?
So you had it.
So I had it, but
nobody
nobody ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like, who, that's not flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? But I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person, from friends, family, fans, they'll never see it.
Mm-hmm. So let's stop share there. So that's a clip I was talking about, right? Now, keep in mind, this is an interview she did with her homegirl. Jeezy did not come out and say Jeannie Mai has an attitude problem. He didn't say nothing, none of this. She volunteered this information to us. I want to point that out. I think that's it's very important to point that out. And I'll explain why later. It'll become clearer why later. But yeah, so she was basically like, okay, I'm in this new relationship. And let me try to see if I can act my, still same way, like I'm running shit around here. And it's like, no, that's not how we do things over here on the black side of the street, ma'am. But you gonna learn today. You gonna learn quick. So maybe, I don't know, maybe she didn't learn. It's a hard thing that's a hard like attitude problem to change in that short amount of time, especially when it's like you were in a 10-year relationship, you've been like this your whole life. So that's really hard habits to try to change. So who knows if that's a problem that was not able to be fixed. People are speculating all kinds of things about infidelity. I've looked into some of those. I'm like, none of them really have any true credence. And I think it's super just kind of basic to assume that it's just, it's got to be infidelity every time. It's always got to be infidelity. But I feel like especially when you get to a point where like they both have a good amount of money, that's not going to be the biggest nail in the coffin, for the most part, that's not going to be the biggest nail in the coffin, unless it's just some really heartbreaking, devastating, you didn't had a baby, had a whole relationship outside, that's a different type of cheating, a different type of, a different story, right? So we don't know if what exactly is the reason for the divorce, but that's one, right? That's one possible reason. And so the other thing that I thought, and kind of the reason I brought up the infidelity thing and what other reasons are, is other women's coverage of this has been very interesting. It's very skewed, like it normally is, in defense of the woman. But the thing that's different, I've noticed, is because most of the time men do not file for divorce. It's usually the woman. So when the man files for divorce, it's kind of like a shock, like, damn, like, so what was happening, like, because it's 70-30 the other way. So when it happens, you're like, okay, damn, like, what was going on? Men rarely do that. So what's happening? And like, it's so funny to see all of the other like women just completely sympathizing with her and just, well, what was her? And I feel so bad for her and poor thing. And this is the worst thing that could happen. I'm like, I'm not saying that like people should be dragging her or anything. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think there's a reason to drag somebody for them getting a divorce, like that's a sad thing. I do empathize and I feel, bad for her and the kid and the child, but not in a sense where it's like I can't discuss the fact that it's two people in the relationship. That means two people contributed to its demise. So I don't see why everyone's putting all the blame, all the, oh, Jeezy's this bad guy. He's so bad. He's this bad man. I mean, it's like they're saying that it's like he forced her to have a baby or something, and like poor her because she didn't want to have a baby with this other guy. And then this is the language that people are using. He made her feel comfortable enough, and now he's leaving her with a baby, leaving her a single mother. And I'm just like, I don't know why we act like women are like little children who are not able to be held accountable for their decisions, or act like they're not a part of whatever happened. whatever happens in your relationship, you are a part of it. You are an equally accountable and, and guilty essentially party. You're a part of it. You can't just push that off on the man and just be like, well, he has a penis, so everything that he did is wrong and everything that I did is right. We just can't do that. Like it doesn't make sense. We can't just keep saying that and keep lying to ourselves and allowing women to not see what role they played in the situation. It doesn't help them at the end of the day. It doesn't help women to infantilize them, act like they're babies, make sure that they hold no accountability, just always pat them on the back. They're there. That doesn't help. You can't grow as a person like that. And I actually think that's kind of leads into what he's been saying recently in response, is that, he felt like he was the only one growing. And that happens in relationships. It happens. And it's hard for like a woman to hear that and accept, but you can't just say, oh, he was the main bad boogeyman because he's leaving her. Why can't he leave her? Women leave men all the time, and it's like, yes, girl, that's right. You have to make sure your happiness is da da da. But then when a man does the same thing and he's not happy and he leaves, it's, you're so horrible. You suck as a father, as a man, as a person. You're trash. How could you leave her like this? Like, how do you guys not see the difference here? It's like men can't go anywhere. They can't breathe without it being an issue. They have feelings too. They have needs and desires. And if they're unhappy, why the hell should they stay in a relationship that's not making them happy? If it was a woman saying the same thing, you would tell her to leave as well. So I just don't understand. Like, the coverage of this is like, it's just like so annoying. It's like, oh my God. Seriously, he can leave his marriage, and he's not a horrible person for doing so. Sorry, guys, but that's just my kind of final point that I wanted to get at. I wanted to show, what kind of has been happening in the story so far and just what I think. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think that there was infidelity? Like, what were you think the causes for the, demise of the relationship were? And outside of that, what do you think of how this is getting covered with everyone in the media and everyone just like on, not just like, articles, but like social media and like influencers and just people like me just talking about it? I think there's a bigger conversation about like how, when divorce or separation news gets, announced, and it's versus it when it's a man or it's a woman, it's covered very, very differently. And it's kind of annoying. Like, I'm tired of seeing women just being like, yeah, like, oh my God, girl code, girl power. Like, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. If there's a man that's doing something wrong, I have no problem reading him for filth. No problem. But same thing, if it's a woman, like, I'm not gonna just like put my blinders on and be like, oh wait, who is it, a woman? Okay, then she's right. Okay. No, I'm gonna look at the facts. I don't just use my emotion. Like, it's a really shit way to live. I used to be like that. I used to live like that. Ladies, let me tell you, it's way better over here when you can use logic and facts, and it doesn't have to, your emotion doesn't have to override your whole life. So that's enough on that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and definitely leave a comment, whether it's good or bad. I want to hear from you guys on this topic. And don't forget to zoom in for the next one. Bye.